Ayo, it's Hans.
And I'm Bae.
And this is Who's the Asshole? Okay. Alright, Bailey. My cute stuff. I have a story for you today.
What do you got?
This one's a little tricky. I feel like it's not like that straightforward, so we're gonna have to discuss this one.
Okay. I like tricky ones.
Right, yeah. Am I the asshole for making a dad joke?
Oh,
My
I'm a sucker
stepdaughter.
for dad jokes.
I'm such a sucker for a dad joke.
Like,
I really am.
You know, I might be a little biased, but
I feel like, yeah, you have a dad that's like king.
is the definition of dad jokes.
He's literally a walking, talking dad joke 24/7. And it's funny. It's warm and inviting and funny. But like, I feel like I love a corny humor moment, you know? So it's like, makes
So
me
true.
chuckle, you know?
Because I feel like you don't get them enough in life, in your everyday life. But like, there's always that one person that always has the corny jokes, and it's like, it just brightens your day a little.
I think so too. Like, you might as well laugh at that shit. Make your life a little funnier, you know?
I agree.
But let's
Okay,
see
get
like
into it.
this dad joke, okay?
True.
My stepdaughter was about a year old when I married her mother. My stepdaughter's father died before she was born, unfortunately. So I adopted her. She is currently 15, and she's rebelling about almost everything. She did something bad, so while picking her up, I set up a punishment for her. Then she said, "You're not my dad. I don't have to follow you." Honestly, I got a bit hurt from that. But I understand that she didn't mean it and that she'll probably change. I just replied, "I'm still your legal guardian for the next 3 years, and as long as you're in my house, you have to follow my rules." That happened about 2 days ago. So, our family was going grocery shopping when my stepdaughter said, "I'm hungry. I need food." I decided to be extremely cheeky and say, "Hi, hungry. I'm not your dad."
I knew that joke was coming. I knew it.
That's literally the oldest dad joke in the books. Like, it's
Wait,
like
but did he
every
say,
dad.
did he say, "Hi, hungry, I'm your dad"?
No, he said, "Hi, hungry. I'm not your dad."
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
my son just started to laugh uncontrollably. My daughter was just quiet with embarrassment. And my wife was berating me not to stoop down to her level. I honestly thought it was just a funny dad joke, and my son agrees, so am I the asshole?
Oh, short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
That's such a tough situation because, like, I feel like whenever a step parent comes in and the child is like, in any argument, that's the one thing where it's like, "You're not my dad," you know? And so, but I didn't really think that the joke, I don't know, I don't understand I don't know their relationship, but I don't think the joke was meant, I don't know. What do you think?
I know. So, like, my thought is, for one thing, like, it's interesting that she used that "you're not my dad," though, since he's literally been in her life, her entire life. Like, since the day she was born. Like,
Yeah.
basically, right? She doesn't have any memories before he was her
Yeah, that
dad.
is her dad. Like,
Yeah.
he raised her, yeah.
But it sounds like, so they have a son that is probably between both partners, so is not a stepson. So the fact that he thought it was funny, I feel like would have added to the embarrassment a little bit.
Yeah,
with
that's
the daughter,
true.
because it's like, okay, well, this is your real kid, quote unquote. But like, the joke is funny. It's kind of funny. It's dark funny though. That's the
Do you
thing,
think,
though.
yeah, it is. So do you think that if he said, "Hi, hungry, I'm your dad," that she would have been like, "No, you're not"? Or do you think that she kind of said that out of anger because she was in an argument and things like that? Or like, do you think he almost did it like, I don't know, because I think that's kind of, a little bit messed up, unless she makes it clear a lot of the times that this is not her dad. But I don't know,
That's
you
true.
know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
true.
do you,
Because yeah, I feel like maybe that was just like, the way he made it seem is like that's a one time only thing when she was like, "You're not my dad," because he's like,
Yeah.
hurt, right? So it doesn't seem like it's like a regular theme in their relationship that she's always
Yeah.
like, "You're not my dad." But again, we don't have that context. We don't know
Exactly.
whether this is and that is how the relationship is. But the thing is the wife is right in that he did stoop down to her level, right? Like, he did give in to, like,
100%.
the joke of the, or not even the joke, the like fact that she is not his blood daughter.
And yeah.
And did it in a joking way and then threw it back in her face. Honestly,
and then
like,
and then his like real kid like laughed, you know, and so then it's just like making her feel like, what the fuck?
But then also, okay, and another thing that I'm adding to this is like, he was obviously bothered by the fact that she said that. So when he said this joke, it was not just a joke. Like, even though he says in the post, oh yeah, I just thought it was a funny dad joke. Like,
yeah,
dude,
but like,
you
that's
were
a
cutting.
little, that's kind of crossing the line for like,
And you were
at least
cutting.
for like, for being funny and like making it lighthearted. That's kind of crossing that. That's making it a little more, you know, personal and kind of rude to say in public, because like, obviously that's your daughter. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't we don't know their relationship, like we said, but also,
But it's fresh.
I don't know.
Like that, like
It is.
conversation about him not being the dad is like a fresh wound. Like it's a fresh conversation they just had where she's probably still feeling icky about it. And then he's not feeling great about it. And so he says this cutting remark and like says it's a joke. Like I had friends, parents growing up that would be like that would just like joke, but you knew they meant it and they were kind of trying to jab you. And it always just sucked and felt like embarrassing, and you had to like laugh to just pretend like it didn't bother you, but it did. And I feel like that's maybe the situation here is like he didn't actually try to be funny. He was trying to like mask the fact that he's pissed off and say it in like a joking way, and it's just like weird for everyone. So the more I say it, the more I think that he's the asshole.
Yeah, this kind of went in like a full circle, because like at first I was like, oh yeah, it's just a joke. And then like knowing the context and like knowing you're a grown adult and being like, I'm not your dad. Like after you just kind of had like a hurtful conversation, it's just, I'm definitely pointing towards the dad as the asshole.
And you're also teaching your son to like make jokes about stuff like that, and then he laughs. And when your wife is obviously bothered, your daughter is bothered, but yet you still just turn to your son, and I could see them like fist bumping and be like, oh.
Yeah. And then you're
right?
like, I'm the only kid. Like, yeah, ew,
it's
gross.
it's like, oh yeah, disrespect women. That's totally fine, and then laugh about it, even if they're upset. Like that's not really right.
I agree.
Even if he wouldn't have meant it in a jabbing way, thought it was just a funny joke, said it off the cuff. If his wife was bothered and said, hey, you shouldn't stoop to her level, like, don't do that, and you could see your daughter is bothered, like, you should have been apologizing right then. Oh, sorry, I went too far.
Yeah, 100%. You know? 100%, I agree. So yeah, even dad's the asshole.
Yeah, dad's the asshole, and y'all gotta have, like, a conversation, because it sounds like there's some communication issues in the family.
Definitely. They're lacking some sort of a communication barrier.
So is that our life lesson today,
is what?
Bailey?
What's our life lesson?
You gotta make sure you're communicating in your family. You know what
Communicate.
I mean? Communication.
Because I feel like, if she would have said something... or if he would have actually went to his daughter and been like, hey, that conversation like really hurt me. Even, I mean, as a dad, you can get hurt, you know, like that's 100% an okay feeling, but go to your daughter and be like, hey, that kind of hurt me because like, you know, like I really believe that I'm your dad, instead of being like, oh, not your dad, you know, like in front of people, like it just changes the whole dynamic.
Totally.
So yeah, I agree. Communication is lacking here.
Yeah, and if you see other people get uncomfortable and not like your joke that you said, then communicate and say, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to jab at anyone, and I love you both. You know, peace out.
I agree.
Life lesson.
I agree.
All right, cutie. You have a story and a life lesson for us?
I have a story for you, yeah. I don't know about a life lesson yet, but I have a story. We'll discuss the life lesson. Okay. Am I the asshole for telling my husband's kids how broke he was when we met after they insinuated that I was a gold digger?
Okay. There's a lot going on in that question.
I know. So I've been married to my husband, Rob, for 4 years now. My husband, late wife, died 1 year before we met, and we dated 2 years before marriage. He has 2 kids, 28 Madison and 26 Brett. No, I'm not calling them my stepkids because they explicitly told me I'm not their stepmom, just their dad's wife. Ooh. I didn't play a part in raising them, and so I'm okay with that. It's always been tense between us, and I've tried my best to be kind to them, and I've been generous when I can be, but they are very cold with me. Before, or being a child of divorce, I can partially relate to a parent moving on, so I try not to force anything. Madison recently got engaged and we were excited about it. Everyone was over recently and she asked about a wedding budget from us. Rob told her he was able to contribute $10K. Oof. She has bigger hopes for her wedding than this, so she was upset and kept asking for more. Rob, however, holy shit. Rob, however, is still working hard on building his savings back up. Before his late wife died, he basically wiped out his cash savings and had to cash out his 401k and even took a smaller mortgage on his house to cover medical costs as well as life expenses since he had to cut back on working. Eventually, he had to drop that job for a more flexible but lower paying one, so this $10K actually really was generous from him. Rob went to run an errand, and it was just me and the kids. Madison then asked me if I was going to give any in addition to what her dad is giving. I told her, we were a marital unit, and that is what we discussed together as a reasonable amount to contribute. She then said, I should have known. Obviously, you married an older man for what he had, not for what you could give. So they have a tough relationship. I knew she didn't like me, but this is the most flat-out rude thing she's ever said. I kind of lost it, and I said, excuse me, who do you think has been paying the second mortgage your dad took out to pay his debts? Truth of the matter is I make more than her father by a large margin. I have no debt, and I have been paying 70% of the household bills the whole time we've been married. The $10K we're giving her is available because I've been able to subsidize her father's living expenses for the last few years. I made it clear that I'm not only a gold digger, I am clearly wealthier than my older husband. She called me stuck up, and then she stormed out. And then she called her dad later and said that I told her I blamed her mother for being sick for not having a better wedding budget. I told him what happened, and he was mad, but also said I shouldn't have shared his financial details with his kids.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Okay, wow. First off,
let's discuss this.
Yeah. It sounds like they have a nasty relationship.
Yeah.
Which, like, is understandable in some ways, right? I haven't lost a parent, but if you lose a parent and then to see your other parent move on in a year has got to be jarring, and just, like, you got to feel like a little bit of betrayal, even though he has every right to move on, every right 100%. To find love. Like, there's got to be that piece that's like, how'd you move on from my mom after a year?
Who passed away. Yeah, 100%. So I think that was like, that's already an intense situation. And totally. I mean, like you said, I don't think the dad's doing anything wrong by, getting remarried and continuing his love life, because I feel like everyone deserves a partner in life, but it is hard because you have older kids too. And so they're still stuck with like their mom. They made it clear that you are not my stepmom.
Yeah.
And then
I can understand that though, because she's 100%. Right. Like, she didn't have any point in raising them. They were already full adults by the time she started dating. And so I get that. Like, I mean, calling him just like my dad's wife, like, that makes sense because, and I've had friends that have like that sort of relationship. But
it's fine. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes like, it's just like, this is my dad's wife. Like, if one of my parents died and my parents like got remarried soon after, I don't think I'd call them my stepmom or my stepdad. Like, that wouldn't be comfortable for me to say, and I'm an adult, I have my life, you are my dad's wife, and I'm okay with that, but like, it does sound sounds like they have something a little bit more, intense than that, than like a chill, I don't know.
And let's get back to like the money thing. Okay.
Yeah. Let's get into the story.
I don't have a lot of money, right? And so I have a perspective on 10 grand. And 10 grand to me, that's a chunk of money. And not only that, she's 26, right? Or 28?
Yeah, 28, like I think.
20. Okay, I'm 29. I would never ask my parents for money for my wedding. Like, maybe if I was 19 or 20, but like, I'm at this point now where I feel like I'm too old to be like, or if I were to ask and they said, hey, I'm going to give you 10 grand, I would have been like, thank you.
Wow.
And
yeah.
never ever been like, I want a better wedding than that. Bitch, you must work. You're 28 years old. You have your own career, or at least some sort of income coming in. Like, if you want a better wedding, then like use your own money or your partner's money. Like, that's fucking selfish.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if my parents offered any sort of money to me for my wedding, which like I genuinely think they will, but like if they didn't, it's like I'm an adult. It's like I'm gonna be saving for my wedding for a while. And that's what I expect, you know? But if they did offer me any amount of money or like offer any of their, I don't know, anything, I would be so grateful. It wouldn't be like, that's all. Like, that's shitty, you know? Like, it's money, dude. Like, and it sounds like the parents are not rich. Like, you know their financial situation and like, I don't know, you know? And so like, it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's so
sit
icky
right with me.
To be like, for anyone to offer you money, to offer you a gift, and then for you to be like, no, that's not. It's like those kids that get a car gifted to them when they're 16 years old, and they're like, I wanted a better car. It's like, bitch, you got a car. Like, who are you to complain? And like, don't be grateful for what you actually were given. It just pisses me off. And the fact that he obviously, if she knows her dad, then she should know that he's giving what he can, you know? And just, that's totally icky.
Yeah. And let's go back to the part where it said that she doesn't call her stepmom, which is fine. She doesn't think she's her stepdaughter, which is fine. Did you see my thumbs up?
Yeah. Why did it do that?
I don't know.
That's so weird. Wait, I heard sometimes when you thumb up or you peace sign, like it'll pop up, but not every time.
Yeah, it like distracted me so much, but I had to call it. But so the stepmom, or not the stepmom, the dad's wife, they like together had to, obviously, you know, you're a married couple. You decide together on how much you're going to go in for this. And then the fact that the daughter said something kind of behind her dad's back, to be like, how much are you going to give? It's like, that money wasn't just your dad's. Like, and like the fact that I'm even contributing it all with like your attitude and how you perceive me as a person and like see me as this like random person in your life. And then you're going to ask me for more money and then call me be like, it's just my dad's money and you're just marrying him because he's rich. Like, come on, get a grip, girl. Like,
for real.
You know?
Real. Yeah, she really did go behind her dad's back by doing that. Like, waiting till he was gone to be like, are you going to give more money? Like,
yeah.
I liked how she responded though, the dad's wife, how she was like, we're a unit. We discussed 100%. This, and this is how much we felt was a good amount. Like, so she had her man's back and was like, you know. But then even when she stood up for herself, I don't feel like she was bashing on her husband. She wasn't like, no, he's been so bad with his money, and definitely didn't do what the daughter said she did, where it was like, oh, it's just because your wife died that you don't have money now. Like, that's not what she did. She literally just said like, hey, this is
because
what
of this debt. Yeah.
And like, I feel like bills to pay.
And she's a fucking adult. Like, it's okay to have those conversations with people that are really close in your life. Like, hey, so, I mean, I'm contributing what I can, and he's like, we're a unit, like you said, we're going to contribute this. He still has a lot of debt to pay off. And you're just being transparent with her at that point, which is how I took it.
But it sounds like the dad has had a little bit of a spoiling situation with the daughter, because for one thing, how she reacted when she got the 10 grand. But then secondly, how he was like, oh, you shouldn't have told my daughter, like, our financial situation. It's like, I get, like, he's probably trying to protect her. Like, so many parents don't want their kids to know, like, what their financial situation is. Yeah. But, like, I get that when they're a kid, but when they're an adult, like, being transparent, especially if you are doing a money exchange like they are. He's giving you 10 grand. Like, being transparent about the money you have, I think, is the only way to go about that, to be just honest, especially if she's pushing back on it. Like, this is where we're at, dude. And if you have a problem, like, this is what I have. So take it or don't. But, like, you can't be like, oh, you know?
And I kind of, like, I kind of was picturing the dad at the end of the story, like when she's like, I mean, don't discuss my financial situation, because I think like he sounds like he like, I mean, dads in general want to be a provider and they want to be able to provide for their family and want to be able to like do all this. So I get his comment on like, maybe don't discuss that with like, you know, with my kids, but also to the point where she's bashing, this daughter is bashing on your wife. And like, I think it was more of like a defense, like, your dad has debt to pay, like, and we're together paying this money to you. We're gifting this to you. Here you go, with a fucking bow on it. And you're like, no. And so that's just like, ugh, icky.
It's true. You're right. And I feel like it probably was embarrassing for him because maybe his kids didn't know that he's not doing super well, but he's not, it doesn't sound like he's doing bad. He just, and you know, being able to give 10 grand is obviously showing that he's like paying off his bills responsibly, and like he has a good partner who's willing to like pitch in, and they're doing what they can. But I get why he would be like embarrassed by it and be like, why would you tell my daughter? But I mean, at that point, if I would understand my wife or my partner telling my kid if they had pushed back that way, if they had still asked again after saying no for more money and disrespected my partner, then I'd be like, okay, you had every right to explain the why behind what we did. So hopefully he like grew to understand why his wife said what she said,
like understood the seriousness of it, kind of, because it also it's like it's her versus me, or you know, like the daughter versus the wife. Like they're never gonna I mean, like I think the wife or the wife would tell the honest truth, but you also have a daughter being like, she brought up like, you are still paying mom's hospital bills, and like because our mom died, and like made it so much more intense than like I mean, even if it is that situation, you know, but like she didn't say that, at least in the story she didn't say that.
Okay, so the asshole, at least according to the info we have, is the daughter.
100%. Yeah, like, straight up.
Also, if I was the one marrying that daughter, I would be embarrassed by the fact that she went off on her parents or her dad and her dad's wife to be like, 10 grand wasn't enough. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
It's going to pay for like a lot of things that you don't have to pay for anymore.
For sure.
10 grand? That's a car, bro.
100%. And like, if you want like a huge wedding that costs like 30, 40, 50 or plus, then like that's on you to fill in those gaps. But 10 grand can give you like a really solid, like a solid plain wedding, simple wedding. But then on top of that, like if you want more, it's still going to give you a solid foundation to have like a really nice wedding. Yeah. So
are you expecting everyone to pay anything for you? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that tradition is gone of like,
money doesn't grow on trees, bitch.
No, and I feel like that old tradition of like the female parents pay for the wedding, it's like goes back to that historical like exchange of women, right? Like, oh, they're gonna pay for the wedding because thank goodness the man is gonna take care of the woman for their whole world, you know? And it's like that we're not doing that anymore, right? So like you don't have to follow every single tradition anymore. And anyways, side tangent, but bitch, pay for your own wedding. Life lesson. Be thankful for the gifts you get, and just, you know, like...
And life lesson, money doesn't grow on goddamn trees, bitch, so... Bitch.
Yeah, gross. Disgusting. She's a bitch, and she's the asshole. Wow, she got 2 crowns today.
She did.
So, yeah, on that note, I think we like really helped you out today. Once again, you're welcome.
You learned a lot.
And I feel like we did so much for you. So go out there, apply these life lessons, and don't be an asshole.
Also, if you have a different opinion, please comment, because we'd like to hear, you know, everyone's opinions.
Yeah,
because opinions are like assholes, and everyone has one.
Yeah, woo woo.
It just flowed naturally.
Peace out, mother suckers. All right, assholes. Follow us on Instagram for behind the scenes looks. and clips from the episodes. Also subscribe and like on YouTube and Spotify. Leave us a review. We love that shit. All right.
We love that shit.
We love that shit. So again, thanks so much for listening. If you have a story that you want to share, our email is in the description, and you can shoot us your story and maybe it'll be on the podcast, and that'll be pretty fucking dope. So yeah, peace out. Thanks so much for listening.
What she said. Bye.